Welcome to the new and improved Shoot Ready podcast from the GBPRA, brought to you by Oscar Bell Weapon Systems. With all this stuff trendy, I'm Simon. That's Christian over there. Hey, this is clever. How are you doing, Christian?
Hi, everybody.
We've got some strange special effects going on, but yeah, I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. So, it's like some sort of strange 80s pop video.
Yeah, so again, for anybody listening on podcast and not watching on YouTube, a very kind member of the association, guy called Jamie Mckillin, put us together a little professional corporate-looking border for the podcast. So me and Simon are both on the screen and framed in a nice frame, and that looked great on YouTube. But obviously, for anybody listening on,
it sounds terrible. Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to get the advantage.
Thanks for bailing me out again. I mean, if I do that, I can fit in. Then the microphone comes and goes. It's all very confusing times. We scooch down and we see it a little bit. Anyway, how's tricks?
It's good. It's good. It's been a little while, hasn't it, since we last did a podcast? I think it was March.
I think it's safe to say, if ever there's been a period in the last 12 months where we needed a bit of a reminder that there's life away from shooting and that we need a little bit of time away from it all, I think this last 2-3 weeks, this last month or so, I think, there's not been a lot going on shooting-wise nationally. PRS just kicked off the other day. Easter week, as it's becoming our Easter fortnight, as for most people, as you've been away. Kids are off school and all that sort of stuff around the country. It's just been a chance to reflect and have a bit of time away from it all, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we got the qualifiers done and dusted, and that was the culmination of 15 months of really, really hard work, and it's been full on for all of us, hasn't it, in that period? And I'll tell you what, April, I was ready for a holiday with the family, ready for a break.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the individual competitions and the April one that didn't happen, and we'll talk about why in a little while. But it's back in the swing of things now. Lots to talk about. We've done a time check. What time is it?
10 to 9.
10 to 9. 10 to 10. We'll see how we're doing. Cowboy time.
Yeah. An hour will do, won't it? I mean, to be fair though, we haven't done one since the beginning of March, so we do have a lot to talk about. But I was having a look through the records of the podcast before I came on. This will be our 7th episode, and we did our first one in October. So by my reckoning, that's about one per month. And we said that if we can keep to one a month, we'd be happy with that. We've had to date 470 unique downloads.
Wow.
That's across 15 different countries, including places like Singapore, Argentina, Norway, South Africa, Switzerland, Sweden.
And Japan.
America.
You're big in Japan, aren't you?
Big in Japan. Germany. Quite big in Germany, actually. Quite big in Germany.
Das ist ausgezeichnet.
Yeah. All right. Take your word for it. And on YouTube, we've had about 800 views of the various podcasts as well. So getting the message out there.
The thing as well is they're all lovely figures. I don't really know what they mean in the context of everything else, but we're not making money out of this. There's people out there making a fortune from social media and YouTubes and podcasts and all that sort of stuff. The fact that anyone's come and listen to us, I think, is a great result. If nothing else, it's given us an opportunity to explain stuff to the members that otherwise we couldn't explain on a Facebook post or an email or a match or whatever it is. So thank you to everyone that's listened to all those. It's quite humbling, really.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Where do you want to kick off? We should go back to the qualifiers. Last qualifier. Qualifiers finished now. Qualifiers, for those that have been in a dark room for the last 2 months, we've now finished our IPRF qualification competition, which was 6 events throughout 2021 and 2022. Orion Firearms Training. winner was Josh Martin, who was just fantastic all season in a very Josh way. Have you got a list of everyone else to run down?
So I do.
Go on, I'll let you do what you do.
Because whenever we ask about what's happening on the leaderboard, I'm always like, well, I think it's like this, and I think it's like that. And I'm like,
I'm going to get it up on my iPad so I can check if you're right.
So I'll do open first. So first place overall just happens to be an open division, as you said, Josh Martin. Josh shot all 6 matches, and I think he won 4 out of the 6. 4 out of the 6. I think there's only Ryan and Alex that beat him. He had a tremendous, really consistent, high-level season. And if anybody watched him at the range on a match day shooting, just so professional, so focused, concentrated. We're
fortunate that we've got lots of good shooters who've come through our competitions, and we've got some great people that will be going to France again, which we'll talk about later on. But for those that haven't watched Josh shoot consistently, and Josh probably won't thank me and will thank me for saying this, because Josh takes his shooting very seriously. What Josh brings to the table, a lot of people don't. Some very talented shooters out there. Is Josh does not dwell on a missed shot or on a shot that's not gone perfectly. It's as though he just completely erases it from his short-term memory and cracks on. So, and I see so many people who will take a bad shot and it'll affect the second and third shot in that string, or it'll just throw them in some way. If ever there was a sort of top tips for what to be doing when you're shooting competitions, certainly 100 round count competitions, which is quite high in the grand scheme of things, don't dwell on shots. It's gone. Once it's out the barrel, just crack on, focus on the next one. So watching Josh, there's a lot people can learn from Josh, new people coming into the sport. We've got a lot of people that people can learn from, but he's won it for a reason. He was consistent. And he ran with a consistent rig all season, which is, some people have chopped and changed as the season's gone on. I think Josh was on the same platform, same barrel, same ammunition, tried and tested. So well done, Josh. Thoroughly deserved, mate. Thoroughly deserved.
Well done, mate. Well done. Second place in open division and second overall on the leaderboard was Joe Pask. Joe didn't shoot the first match, but he came along to the second match and was a regular feature at all the matches after that. And if I just have a look at Joe's individual scores, one of his matches he actually shot better than any other of Josh's matches in terms of his result. So although he came second place on the day, Joe, as with Josh, like top level competitor in the UK.
I mean, that's the 114.29 you're looking at, yeah. Yeah. That's some serious shooting. That, especially when you look at the other people that were there. That
114.29 that Joe put in has only been bettered by one other shooter.
And just for context, and they'll forgive me for saying it, but it's all on the internet for people to read. I'm not making stuff up. Some of the best shooters in the country. Alex shot a 92.86 on that one. Jack was at 82.4. Tom Rice 67.86. These are all people that have qualified to go to France for being phenomenal competitors through the season. That's some score. Score. And he's a lovely guy as well, Joe. Anyone that's not met Joe, those that you have, he's one of the nicest guys out there.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, when he's on the stage, as soon as that buzzer goes, whoa, he's like in the zone big time. So then third place in open and third place overall, not fourth, as we like to joke, was Alex White. Fair to say that Alex wasn't really happy with his start of the season, I don't think. But
it was a slow start, that's for sure.
Yeah. But came into his own in particularly in one of the latter matches. It was our second from last qualifier, and the conditions were absolutely awful. It was like the wind was gusting up to 40 mile an hour. The rain was there all day, coming in horizontal. People were struggling to see the targets. And But that's when Alex seems to excel. I've seen Alex win a match in those conditions before, and he just seems to be able to maintain a level of performance that other people can't maintain when the conditions are atrocious. Yeah. So Alex White shoots for accuracy international in 3rd place. 4th place in Open was Ryan Charlton. Ryan only shot 2 matches, but did enough in those 2 matches to qualify. And like I said, he actually posted the best individual match results of all competitors across the qualification season. He posted the best score of anybody.
And on that match, he was a country mile ahead of everyone else. I think Jack was chasing him, but he was a country mile ahead of everyone else. Yeah,
it was an impressive performance that day. It was great to be there and witness it. Yeah. 5th place in Open is Timo Turl. 9th place overall on the leaderboard. Timo, I don't think, just checking the records, he didn't shoot the last 2 matches. He got 3 matches under his belt and did enough to qualify.
Mm-hmm.
Put in really solid performance. After Timo in Open, just in the last 6th position, last place, was Andre Mills.
And Andre, new to it all in the grand scheme of things compared to everyone else. I think it's his first season shooting precision rifle. Really nice guy.
A little bit like Laurence Vance in Factory, sort of came from out of nowhere and just really
had a great season. Real joy to be around. Really nice guy, and some fantastic shooting. I mean, on the match, I think he was up or thereabouts. It was match 3, but consistent all the way through. Thoroughly deserves to be where he is.
Yeah, I'll still never forget his wife telling me off for pronouncing his name wrong. Sorry about that. I'll never live it down. Okay, so moving on to Factory division. In 1st place in Factory division, shot every qualification match. Tom Rice.
Never heard of him.
You should have heard of him. Shoots for you.
Nice guy. Really nice guy. Tom's just been plugging away consistently all season. I mean, he didn't have the best last match, but everything was done and dusted by then.
Yeah.
What that chap can do with a factory rifle, mind blowing.
Isn't it?
So no, thoroughly deserved, and just it was a pleasure to have him at all the events.
I'm going off on a tangent now, but if you ever go to the Gardeners Guns Big Sis matches up in Scotland, they've always got the wobble board there, and Tom seems to always do well on the wobble board. Okay, 2nd place. We have in Factory. We have Ben Mckillin. Again, another one of the gentleman shooters. Won't find a more pleasant guy.
One of the more intelligent guys in the shooting game as well. He's like a computer that can shoot.
Yeah.
Whenever we have a difficult question to do with scoring or algorithms or maths or anything, it's Benny Mac straight away. So we'd have been lost. He's been an absolute pleasure to be about all season, but we'd have been lost without him helping us with scores and plumb systems and all this nonsense. So, yeah.
Well, let's be clear. I mean, there's lots of people that have done lots of things for the association in the past 15 months. Ben, amongst other things, was responsible for putting in place our scoring system. The plumb scoring system is his system. He shared it with the association with myself, and has helped along the way in just making sure that it's accurate, kept up to date, and so on. So thanks for that, Ben. Couldn't have done it without you. Then in 3rd place, already given him a mention as a newcomer onto the precision rifle scene, but really taking it by storm, was Laurence Vance. Was originally shooting a Bagara HMR when he came in and really impressed everybody. Was recently moved over onto an Accuracy International platform. Laurence has shot for England, I think England or Great Britain. I think it was England before.
Both, I think.
In sporting clay pigeon shooting. So he's going to be a great addition to the Great Britain team. I feel he's already got that international experience in the shooting discipline. I think he'll be a great one to take to France.
I mean, one of the projects we've had in the background, and it's something that Josh and Alex and a few others have spoken about, is the whole, these are athletes. These people that are taking part in the sport that we hold so dear are athletes. And, Laurence has brought that athletic element into it, and he's come from a background of structured sporting events internationally. I know we're going out to France and we're going to have an international event, but athlete development's got to be massive for us, and it's something Laurence will forgive me for saying it. Laurence sends the longest emails and WhatsApp messages in the history of technology, but he's very passionate about it. He's got lots of fantastic ideas in relation to athlete development, and it goes to everyone out there. If you want to get involved in developing the people that are doing the sport, develop the venues, just give us a shout. We'll be absolutely milking Laurence for all he's worth, and looking to take advantage of all that knowledge he's got. And he's applied himself fantastically. He's a very professional, thorough guy, nice guy to be around, very knowledgeable. So he's a welcome addition to our very small family of precision rifle shooters in the UK. He's got a lot to add to all the different competitions and venues. So, yeah, it's been great to have him along.
Yeah, here. And then in the final qualification spot, fourth qualification spot for Factory is Mike Underwood. Now, that final qualification spot wasn't really secured until the last game.
We were looking at John Cresswell, Gareth, and Dean. I think they were sort of there or thereabouts, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, Michael, with the first time, he was very surprised, but thoroughly deserved. I mean, Mike, those that know Mike, he's one of the nicest guys out there. I mean, he comes and helps us and volunteers. He was at the Target Shoot Show, and yeah, he's a lovely guy. Mike's a perfect example, and we speak about Mike frequently about how he's got into the sport, enjoying the sport, and then realised that he needs to step up a level. So he's invested in kit and time, put a few more percent in what he's doing, and it's shown. I mean, you look at his scores throughout the season. He's been consistent at that factory level. He's gone consistently up every match.
Yeah,
starting off at quite a low level, and then the application that he's put in has taken him up there to the point where did he beat? He was sort of there or thereabouts with Tom towards the end of the season. So Mike thoroughly deserves to be there, and he's an example to everyone out there who's shooting factory class. I know he's gone to an AI now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's gone to an AI now. But again, that just shows the investment that he's putting into himself, and he's putting his money where his mouth is. He wants to do well, and he wants to progress, and it's paid dividends for him.
But in terms of getting into this sport and coming through factory class rifles, off the shelf rifles with, minimal tweaking and playing about, these are examples of how you get into the sport. Mm-hmm. There's lads towards the top end in open running very complex custom rigs with lots of investment. Anyone that follows Ryan on social media will see how much time and effort he puts into his various rifles, low development. He probably spent more money on dies and seating clamps and all sorts of random reloading stuff. Because at that top end, you need to be investing that sort of money. But people like Mike and Dean and Gareth and John show that you can get into factory. And next season is going to be fascinating, or this coming individual season, where these factory people are getting far and far more comfortable with their rifles.
Yeah.
Now they've got a season under the belt, low developments, all squared away, and they've got dope venues and stuff like that. So, yeah, well done, Mike. Thoroughly deserved, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just interesting what you say, because the leaderboard overall, if you just ignore the divisions, the placing within the division, first three places on the leaderboard at the end of the season were held by open shooters. Fourth place, another open shooter, but in military and law enforcement division. But then the next two places, fifth and sixth overall, both factory shooters.
Consistent as well, all the way through. It's not like they've just come in towards the end. They've been there. I think there was even a point where Tom was fourth. Who knows? Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah. Good to see.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, it's good to see. You're absolutely right. See factory up there consistently through the season. It's great to see.
That's cracking. It gives me hope. I'm a factory shooter. If I ever get shooting,
you're far too valuable to the organisation to shoot.
Yeah, they won't let me loose with a gun now. Now they've got me on behind a microphone and the camera.
The only thing you're shooting is a camera.
Yeah. If we just move on then to military and law enforcement. So first place.
Are we going to do this bit? Which way are we going to do this? We're going to talk about all three or just two? Well, we're going to do it at the end. What do you want to do?
Let's explain the.
Well, let's explain the current leaderboard, and then we'll explain why it's wrong.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, is it wrong?
No, it's not. They're not yellow. So because he's not yellow.
Oh yeah, because we haven't updated the leaderboard yet to reflect.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Go on. After you.
All right. Okay. So military and law enforcement and senior. Should we just explain? Military and law enforcement and senior. We had originally envisaged taking 2 shooters in each division. Okay. And that was because, Simon, you know, at the beginning of the season, we were having a look at.
There's so many reasons for that. We'll just say at the moment, we went with 2 originally for very good reason. We'll cover the reasons why that's not the case a little bit later, but he's absolutely right. We went for 2 originally because of lots of discussion in relation to all sorts of things. So the 2 original places, first one was Jack. So Jack came first in military law enforcement. And I can do this because he's not got it yet. I've got it. Can you read that on there? Does it come up? How shiny is that? Shiny.
Yeah, it's cracking.
It's not really doing much justice on here, but.
Did you spell his name right?
Yeah, totally right. It's only because I've not posted out to him yet because he wants to pick up an event. For the other ones should have hopefully be in the post to people by the time they listen to this. But anyway, awesome. It's safe to say Jack gets in the zone. Jack takes his shooting very seriously. One of the more experienced precision rifle shooters out there in the grand scheme of things. He's doing it for a long time, puts a lot of time in.
Surprised at how long he's been doing it, actually. I interviewed him. If anybody hasn't been on the YouTube channel, and we do on location interviews with the shooters, and I did Jack just recently for an interview, and I was very surprised with his shooting background. It goes back to when he was a really young kid. So yeah, quite fascinating.
Yeah, so thoroughly deserved it. I mean, he was there or thereabouts, head off shoulders, up and amongst all the. Well, the reality was he had to qualify for open if he wasn't shooting for military.
Yeah.
Solid scores all season. Thoroughly deserved. Jack's also, just a side note, Jack's also been instructing for us and helping us out with practice score and stuff. So he's been a very valued and valuable sort of addition to this the competition. So yeah, thanks, Jack. Thanks for all your hard work.
Great part of the community.
Mm.
And then in second place,
he does a mean Venn diagram, whatever they call them, as well. He does good reviews of competitions, doing little diagrams and graphics and stuff as well. So we need him to do some of those. He's going to be our official graphic person in France. It's all beyond me, all that. When I see all these pretty pictures of ranges and pretty shooters and working all the angles out, it's all very impressive stuff.
I've seen that. I do know he's got a good YouTube channel. I like seeing his videos and his trigger.
I have to look. I don't really do the YouTubes.
And then in second place in military and law enforcement, we've got Dan Owen.
Yeah.
Four up 6 matches Dan shot. Had a good season.
Another team I shoot, a lovely guy. One of the nice guys. Again, consistent shooting. Would he have qualified? He'd have qualified in the last spot in Open if he wasn't shooting mill, I think. So, yeah. Well done, Dan. Good shooting. And yeah, I mean, he was up there. Did he come? I think he was like third in one of the. Was it towards the latter end of the competitions? But yeah, consistent shooting.
He shot the last 4 matches, but he actually secured his place off his scores from the first match he shot and the third match he shot.
Yeah.
And that's where military and law enforcement would have stopped. That would have been the 2 going to represent the country. We've now added a third.
Yeah.
And the third shooter in military and law enforcement is Daniel Watkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you met Dan yet, have you?
Nope. I wasn't at the last two shoots, and he only shot the last two. I've spoken to him, I think. I think I've conversed with him via the social internet stuff. But yeah, no, not me.
Yeah, really nice fella. I like him a lot. Just so enthusiastic and giddy about his shooting. He just, just full of energy for it. Yeah, he's a delight to be around, is Dan. So yeah, well done, Daniel. I'm hoping that came as a nice surprise for you. So
going on to seniors, the older chaps.
What was that, Simon? Sorry?
I was saying seniors, the older chaps, the purple ones.
Yeah, creaky guys. So first place in seniors, we've got Mark Twitty. Only shot 2 matches, but that's all he needed.
They were the rules from the beginning.
Yeah. Your best 2 scores will see you through. And that was why, again, just to remind people, that's why for the last match of the season, for the qualification season, we opened it up originally just to people that could actually get that second score or improve on any of the other 2 previous scores. That's why it was open to those guys first, because we didn't want to close up spaces with people that couldn't actually qualify because it was only 1 match that they've shot.
It's only now that we can sort of demonstrate just how important that decision was.
Yeah.
It was a vital decision for us to make. Otherwise, we'd have lost some competitors. It would have completely skewed the scoreboard because people who, no disrespect, and we'll talk about why we had the numbers we had, but people who were significantly down the leaderboard would have qualified, who hadn't really put up scores that were, I hate to say it, competitive enough for us to go out and represent GB. I'll write in my book to remind myself about. I'll put turning up as a reminder, because it was a point we need to discuss about why we came to the numbers, and conversation with every people saying, well, can I qualify if I just do this and do that? So that last competition was vital, and certainly for Mark, and then equally on for we were all on to Duncan in that sense, because Duncan followed the exact same model, didn't he? Duncan Mckillin.
Well, Duncan Mckillin, I mean, that was a real surprise. Duncan came in for the last 2 matches of the season. The first match that he shot, he posted an okay score, but nothing spectacular. And I'll tell you what, he came into that last match and he scored the best result of any senior shooter on the day.
Well, just for context, he drew with Jack. I don't know where he was placing wise. He beat Tom. He beat Dan Owen. He beat Andre. So, for a bit of context, they're all people that were top 6 finishers for the season. So, some shooting that Tex.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really well done, Duncan. Took me really by surprise, pleasantly so. And I think it's just going to be fantastic because Duncan is Ben's father,
and he's also been he's been very well received. Daddy Mac is the handle that he's running by now. It's just another great story of nice people in the sport, which makes it even more enjoyable to spend time on the side of a hill getting wet.
But for a father and son team to be going along to the world,
it's amazing.
That's a real story, isn't it?
That's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
Really good. And that's where qualification for senior would have ended. But again, we've added in a third member of the GB team that's going to go and represent us in France, and that is Charles Cooper.
Never heard of him.
No, don't know who he is.
He was shooting random calibers, I think, and stuff all the way through when he was shooting like 2.2 Creedmoors and random stuff. I remember that chap, tall chap, very, very graceful. Our very own Charles Cooper, chairman extraordinaire, had a bit of a shock when he found out that we were going to put 3 in. Coops is a legend. Coops has either been there shooting or been there blue bibbing or running stuff from behind the scenes or fighting battles for us. And there's a poetic justice in the fact that he's qualified to go. But again, he's shot 4 events. And like Christian said before, if you shoot the events and you get scores consistently, absolutely thoroughly deserve to be there.
Yeah, I know he was a bit worried about though getting a position, wasn't he? Because you're right, he had a couple of matches where he was with his ammunition, struggling with his rifle, and
yeah. So that's it. That's 16. We've just run out, and that's the 16 that we have. I can say it now because we'll talk about it in a minute. But that's the 16 that have been invited to come and represent the GB team in France. Now begins a process of, we'll call it a ball ache. It's going to be an absolute chew, but it'll be worth it. You know, people are now looking at the diaries, working out what they can come. We're looking at logistics, we're looking at venues, we're looking at accommodation, we're looking at travel, we're looking at passports, we're looking at permits, we're looking at all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that if you're one of those 16 people whose name we just mentioned, then if you haven't seen your emails already, check your emails, because by the time you listen to this, watch this. See, I'm learning. Listen to this on the YouTubes or whatever you're watching it on. You should have an email. If you've not got it, then give us a shout. But you've all had your invites. If there are some people, which undoubtedly there will be within that group, who either can't make it, don't want to make it for whatever reason, then we'll look at offering them the places to the people that subsequently qualify below them. But we'll get ahead of ourselves if we start thinking too much into that. That's the leaderboard. In terms of, let's just talk about numbers for a minute, because we were getting our ears chewed off all sorts of people. So how it worked was we started off on this mission of qualifying people, not really knowing how many we could take, not really knowing how many people would turn up, not really knowing how many of each category we needed to allow to qualify, because it's got to be the top few percentile. I'd say the top percentile, say 20, 30, 40 percentile. And we had lots of people sort of saying, well, why aren't you sending this many? Why aren't you sending that many? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? We're very much driven by the initial venue.
I think 2 people raised it.
Did I say lots? It sounded like lots because they raised it over and over again.
Yeah, there was a lot of noise. They were making a lot of noise, but it was only a couple of people that raised it. But the point is,
and we were, we tried to explain ourselves. Yeah, we tried to explain ourselves about it, and we're very much driven by the venue and what the venue could take. And then the venue changed, and we thought we were hosting it locally, and the numbers would have dropped significantly. I mean, let's be straight about it. If our plan B would have happened, which was we were hosting some form of competition in this country, or say in Wales, as part of some sort of broken down World Championships, I don't think we'd have been able to. Well, certainly there would have been countries that couldn't have taken all the people that qualified. Those numbers, and until we knew what France would give us, we couldn't nail it down. When we first started qualifying, you take senior is a great example. People saying to us early doors, well, why aren't you taking 4 seniors or 5 seniors or what have you? So if we said, all right, well, we'll allow 4 seniors to qualify, how many seniors did we have to shoot? 4?
No, we had in the first 2 matches 1 senior shooter. There was no.
So when someone said to us, why aren't you taking 4 seniors? And were they a senior? Anyway, if we'd have said we'd have taken 4 seniors, then no word of a lie, all you'd have to do is turn up and shoot. Your score would have been irrelevant, and you'd have gone, we had to make it competitive. We had to say it's going to be the top. And I'm not going to lie to you, Coops will forgive me for saying it, but the top, when it was the top 2 seniors, that was like really competitive. Between the 2 of them, there was only 3 points. Or on average score 3 points. Between Coops in 3rd and Daddy Mack in 2nd, Coops had 137.43, Daddy Mack had 137.86, properly competitive. And we needed to make sure it was competitive. When we were given the opportunity to take more, we snapped our hands up. And it makes more sense for us in terms of some of the teams scoring in the event. But to all those people out there that were sort of second guessing why we were doing it and why we landed on these numbers, first off, we had to go with something. We had to make an educated decision as to what numbers we'd have initially. We never said how many we were going to take. We were always going to say we reserve the right to take as many as we want. We had a long conversation about whether we take limited class as well, and we decided against it in the grand scheme of things. So we've settled on those numbers. I think it's the great numbers. We've got a great initial 16. even if some of those 16 fall away for whatever reason, we've got some great people that will be sat behind. Not sure I'll be chomping at the bit. And I'm not going to lie to you, if we don't take a full 16 for whatever reason, the world's a crazy place. We're going out to a country that is, 5 chess moves away from the Ukraine. In a world where COVID is up and down all over the world, nothing's guaranteed. We could get on the coach to go over there and get hit by some form of problem, because that's how the world spins. So the fact we've at least got this far and we're looking to mobilise a team and take them abroad is fantastic. And let's not forget, this is the first one of these we've done. Yeah. By the time we're doing our 5th World Championships in 10 years' time, we'll be flying, absolutely flying.
Well, the good news about now taking 3 instead of 2 is because now in senior military and law enforcement, we can actually compete as Great Britain. It won't just be those guys, individuals from the country. Yeah. There will be as that, but it'll also be as a Great Britain effort as well, which is fantastic.
I hear some people say, why under the old model with just taking 2? Well, aren't we bothered that we're not going to score as a team? I don't know. Not really. It's like the whole ethos of this is we've got some really good competitors who want to go and take part in it, but how seriously do we want to take it? Because if we're going to take it super seriously, then we'd have probably been quite draconian in the way we went about scoring and clamping down on certain rules and being overzealous about things. We've still got to make this fun, and we've still got to make it enjoyable. So it's all about finding that balance. I think we found a nice balance and a nice team. So congratulations to everyone that's qualified. And even those, there's some people sat in amongst them all that had some fantastic shooting that just didn't quite make it. People who will be disappointed in themselves because it fell away towards the end.
Well, I really wanted James Ford to come back and shoot a couple of matches, because James
would have qualified.
James, I think he would have had a massive shout.
He'd have qualified if he'd have shot a few more. There was someone else like that as well.
He was too busy racing a rally car over some lure somewhere, which that's fair enough. I'd imagine that's a bit of fun as well.
Yeah. But no, all in all, fantastic qualification period. Thanks everyone that took part. Thanks everyone that volunteered. It's now in the bag, as they say, and we move forward with the plans for the next events that are coming, which we'll talk about later on. In relation to the France sort of preparations, if you will, again, those people that are in that 16 will have had an email explaining what our plan is and what we intend to do. We'll make no secret of the fact we're trying to make it as accessible as we can for everyone that's going. In a perfect world, it would be free, and that's still our aim. We're very fortunate to have been offered some support from some decent companies to help it sort of be more cost viable. But that's a work in progress. It's difficult times at the moment where we are in the financial year, should I say. We're doing everything we can to try and make it as easy a trip as possible in terms of logistics. I've got a small team of people that volunteered the time to do all the planning and preparation and sort out coaches and accommodation and permits and survey monkeys and all that sort of stuff. So that's all carrying on. Again, I put a message out a while back saying if anyone wants to get involved in that, then let us know. We had some volunteers, fantastic, and I'm very grateful. I speak to them regularly about it. And those preparations will continue in earnest. As part of that, the team are going to get some training. We're going to train as a team. We're going to do some team building exercises, corporate uniforms. We're going to get shooters' tops and clothing and all that sort of stuff sorted away. We're up against it timescales wise. I'll be the first to say I would love to have had 12 months run up at this. We couldn't start planning anything when it was Hungary because they told us not to, and then Hungary fell down. And then we sat twiddling our thumbs thinking what we're going to do. We only got the venue confirmed 3 weeks ago when it was Bitche confirmed Christian. It was in the last month.
Yeah, France was confirmed a month or so ago, over a month ago, and the actual venue in Bitche was confirmed a few weeks ago. Bitche, I think you do pronounce it Bitche, yeah. Don't mean to offend anybody.
I was going to say because I'm northern, but you're northern as well. And then from that point on, we then ended up going into conversation. Well, how many can we take? How many can we have? Maximum, minimum numbers. Little things like I couldn't get started to speak to coach companies about itineraries until we knew where we were going. and where the accommodation is and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be a headache, but it's going to be a very worthwhile one.
And it's going to be worthwhile because we want this to be a team going to a World Championships. We don't want this to be a disparate group of individual shooters turning up. This is going to be a real team effort, and we've got to approach it with that team mentality. I'm sure if Laurence Vance was here, he'd express this more eloquently than I can. But you need
those people.
We need to train together. We need to eat together, sleep together, travel together.
Sleep together, steady on, not topping and tailing the job.
So yeah.
But those people that have shot and qualified should be very proud of what they've done. That pride should continue on to the fact that they're going to represent Great Britain. That's the reality of it. They're going to go up against the best country in the world. There's some phenomenal shooters going to be in France. So we should all be very proud of what we're doing, and we should step off that coach being, firstly, firmly the belief that we deserve to be there.
Yeah.
But secondly, very proud of all the effort we've put in, and the fact that we've got shooters going out to France that could win the whole shooting match. That's it. There's people going to get off our coach who are capable of winning everything. So that's why we should have a little spring in our step in relation to what's happening.
Yeah.
So watch your space. More France stuff will come down the pipeline, but again, we're up against it time-wise, so we're doing our absolute best. But it'll all happen. We've got lots of experience, lots of people that are used to travelling overseas, RFDs, travel organisers, and all sorts of stuff. So we'll get there.
Well, one last mention of Bitche in France, the World Championship venue in August. The FRPRA, French Precision Rifle Association, they shoot their final qualification match on the last day, the 30th of April and the 1st of May, 2-day match. And it's actually an open invitation to other country shooters as well. So I think we've got 4, 5, 6 of our qualifiers that are going over to shoot that match. So Josh is going over, Laurence is going over, I think Alex is going over, Ben McIlwain's going over. I might be forgetting some of the other guys that are going over there, but that's going to be a real good, dry run for the Worlds, because that's like over 100 shooters from something like 9 or 10 nations, I think, that are going there. It's going to be like a mini Worlds. So it will give the organisers in France. It's been organised, like I say, by the French Precision Rifle Association and their partners, Ultimate Ballistics. They know how to put on big events. This is going to be a real dry run for the World Championships in August. So expecting really good things for this championship in August. And I think they're taking spectators. So I think if anybody fancies, a week in France, is it over west of France near Switzerland?
Northwest, past Strasbourg, absolutely. And
beautiful country.
As our planning continues, I'm not going to lie to you, but our plan at the moment is to take a coach, to all bus up together as a coach, take a coach across. That's plan A. With plan B, C, D, E, and S. If there are people that are interested in travelling across as a spectator, drop us a line. If we can get you on our coach and save some money for you, save some of those costs of getting across, we're quite happy to take spectators. Within reason, there'll be a limit to that. So please don't be offended if you contact us and we can't facilitate you, but we'll do everything we can to get supporters over there.
Yeah.
It'll be a great event. Say again.
Might have to ask you to do a bit of lifting and carrying just to help the cause.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just stand here for a little bit and all this. But yeah, if people want to get across there and spectate, we'll do everything we can to facilitate that and support that. It will be a great event.
Yeah, I look forward to it. May have had my holidays booked for a long time.
Yeah. So that's France. So we're part of France now, so we should do some individual 2022 competition stuff.
Yeah, qualification season's done. We need to talk about what's coming up this year now, don't we? The next season.
So, we came into existence in the grand scheme of things to qualify a team to go to France. We've done that. There was an argument as to whether that's all we do, and we leave it, and we wait until 2023, and we qualify the 2024 team again, and that's it. There aren't enough shooting venues, there aren't enough shooting competitions in this country. There isn't enough, I'll say opportunity for people to get into the sport from starting level. So training, there isn't enough training, is probably a better way to put it. So we had to do something to fill those gaps. An individual competition made perfect sense. And we confirmed the dates a while back. They will all be at Orion. We'll talk about the first one in April. This is when we get to be really transparent and really open and honest, so you realise that we're all human and we all do our best. The April event was questionable from day one. When we booked it, we wanted to have some momentum. In hindsight, it wasn't the best date, Easter weekend, or Bank Holiday weekend, should I say. After such an intensive qualifying competition, with a view to starting again. And we were sort of on the fence as to whether we'd even get decent numbers. We nearly cancelled at one point, didn't we, mate? A while beforehand. And we knew we weren't going to get the numbers, so we just pulled it. It was a shame, but we didn't see a point in running an event if there wasn't going to be enough people there, or the people that we wanted there. So, we had people contacting us saying, fellas, we can't make that event. We've got family stuff on. We're away in Cornwall. We're doing this, we're doing that. That it's like I said, this last month, 6 weeks has been very much family time for the majority of people I know, including me. It's when Christian squeezed his holiday in. Everyone I know, on the run up to the long Easter week or fortnight as it's become. So April is what it is. It happened. The first individual event, should I say, is going to be in June. 4 events, am I right in saying? I'll have to check the calendar. This is when Christian normally jumps up and said, "Yeah, 4. I've got it in front of me."
Would have been 5 now.
What's 5 now? 4. So let's talk about it. So what is that individual event? So it's a dedicated and clear individual event like you used to, with an overall winner at the end of the 4 events. There will be individual winners for each of the competitions. There will be prize tables. So let's talk about some of the great people that have come out of the woodwork to help us and offer their support. Tom at Edgar Brothers has been fantastic and wants to support what we're doing. Edgar Brothers, a great company to deal with. Benny Mac shot for them and they're well represented at all of our competitions. So they very kindly offered to put some prizes up for the prize tables for the 4 individual events, as has Alice from AI at AI Store. So what the individual events will be are a good old-fashioned winner on the day, prize table, and then cumulative score for a winner at the season, and a larger prize for the first, second and third at the end of the season, and overall trophies. It could be 8 events, it could be 10 events, it could be all those things. There's a lot going on. Expecting someone to come and shoot 6 events, the way that the shooting community is in the UK, it's a lot. There's lots of competitions. We've tried to have our individual events that don't conflict with other individual events up and down the country. We'll talk about teams in a bit. Teams is a different beast, but I think a 4-season, or as 5 as was, 4-season individual event, I think sits quite nicely. And that's where we're at. So
yeah, I think you're right. I think it's 4 matches. Would have been 5. It's now 4 traditional precision rifle type matches. And we always had that question mark, didn't we, about once the qualification was done, would there be without the draw of that qualification, would we still get the big crowds? I think definitely, like you say, planning something on an Easter bank holiday weekend was questionable. We shouldn't have done that. For a start, it was the week before Precision Rifle Series UK had their second.
And as soon as we talked about opening it, we were like, PRS have just opened theirs. We're going to be competing with this.
Yeah.
And we didn't sit comfortable with us. I'm not going to, let's be straight. That's the point when I wanted to pull it. So I was, from the early outset, sort of saying, and we had some very grown-up discussions because we desperately, Christian and I think we came as close to falling out as we ever come to falling out. And we're good buddies. Christian passionately wanted to make sure we put on events for people, and I, being the sort of trying to be as safe as possible, wanted to try and get an early cancellation in, and we sort of we actually properly disagreed about it.
Yeah, we did.
And in the end, we sort of came to the common ground that it was in the best interest to pull this event. And let's be straight, there isn't a shooting competition in this country that hasn't lost an event, that hasn't had to cancel or move a venue, or it happens. You know, that's the nature of venues and human beings. And if nothing else, it's a learning curve for us in terms of booking a calendar and making sure we don't, you know, we're not going to have another competition with a bank holiday on a Friday and a bank holiday on the Monday. That's not going to happen again. Is what it is.
But for me, it wasn't just the lack of the match. It was the loss of the match. It was the loss of the training day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last season, Gardeners, they were going to do like a little cis match, then a big cis match. I think they used to do some training stuff as well. Before I started getting into the sport, but they've had their own challenges. So I think they're running on a reduced calendar of events this season, and they've just announced that they're not going to run the cis dynamic, which is a real shame. I think they're going to run that every 2 years now, because I did that last year, and that was the match last year. I kept saying, that's the match I'm really excited about. Every match, don't care about the World qualifiers.
Loads of people were looking forward to it. I know people that went off and bought so much kit planning for the dynamic. They were like, next time I'm going to have this, I'm going to have that, I'm going to do this. This is more lightweight. But you're right. They're losing the training event, and at one point we nearly just ran the training event. But then we fell into the whole, if people are coming, they want to come for 2 days. We're people who potentially travel over from different countries, you know, who come and want to take advantage of that full weekend. In the same way when PRS put an event on, it's 2 days to make it worthwhile for the Irish lads to come across, or whoever it might be. So just a 1 day event is not best. So anyway,
you've got some people who go and shoot Precision Rifles UK, don't shoot our show. You've got people that shoot our show that don't shoot PRS UK, that don't shoot Big Sis. You know, for me, there's enough for everybody. The issue that we had with that Easter one, I feel, was the timing. Just should not have put it on that weekend. But for me, it's enough for everybody, and 4 individual matches for us, plus PRS UK's calendar, plus the Big Sis calendar, Scotland. That's enough. I think that's plenty to give somebody, to give everybody an option. Time will tell. We'll see what the crack is, but I definitely don't believe that the calendar in the nationwide calendar, I don't think it's congested. I think there's enough there to put a match on everywhere. Like I say, and I know the PRS UK guys are going to come in and they're going to do their what's the guys everyday modern day sniper.
Or Caleb and Philip Caleo and yeah.
Are they right, modern day sniper?
I'm terrible. Yeah, sounds good to me. Sounds good.
So I know they've got that training course coming in, but you know that's like a marquee, one-off, really special event that they're putting there. Fair play to them, but nobody's doing those training days, and for me, that's what we need to be doing. We could stop doing the matches, but as long as we keep doing the training in a qualification off season, I'd be happy. And
in terms of stopping the matches, please someone come and make us stop the matches. Please someone come along and stop us having to do qualifiers next year for IPRF 2024, please. We won't go down that rabbit hole again, but right, so that's individuals. There's 4 events, dates are on the calendar. Dates are always subject to change because of flying vermin and landowners, let's not forget, but we'll do our best to keep those dates best we can. Thanks to Tom at Edgar Brothers and to Alice at AI Store for very kindly offering their support for the price tables and just in general supporting this very small community is worth its weight in gold, certainly in growing the sport, as someone once said. Individuals, teams. So interspersed with individuals is the teams events. Now, this is where I wish I'd written a bit more down because I'm having a mental block and a brain fart. The teams is going to be epic. We've got a number of teams who've already signed up. I think we heard back from all of them now. I think this last couple of weeks has been a blur. While you've been in Italy, I've been tucked up as well. Very much playing catch up.
Who's joining? What teams have we got?
C2, Jackal, AI, One Mile Club, Rifleman's. He says with 5 on his finger.
C2 Precision, which is Josh Martin's team.
Yeah.
Team Jackal, some weird guy with a bald head and a
never heard of him.
Scruffy beard is his team. Team Jackal from Jackal Firearms. Yeah. Team Accuracy International.
Yeah, everyone knows who they are.
Everybody knows who they are. Did you say 1 Mile High?
Mile Club. Stop calling 1 Mile High Club. Keeps his like that. 1 Mile Club.
Freudian slip. Yeah. Who else did you say?
Rifleman's. Matt and Ian from Rifleman's.
So Rifleman's, a little bit for people who are not familiar with Rifleman's. Who are Rifleman's?
So Rifleman's have been running their PRS 2-2 competition down south somewhere, south of north. I don't know where things are in the world, south of
They're on the south, they're right on the coast, aren't they, I believe?
Where they have palm trees and they can all wear shorts all year round. We're in the north, it just rains all the time. Matt and Ian have done fantastic things for precision rifle, certainly in the 2-2 realm. Even before we were running PR22, they were running their own PRS precision rifle series, I think they called it. Matt's involved in sort of the engineering side of shooting. There's some great people down there shooting. All of our competitors have been down there. I think the likes of Matt Stockman and Tom Rice and Josh and people like that have been shooting. So yeah, they're putting a team in. So that takes us to 5 teams. I've not missed anyone there, have I? No, I haven't. This is where I wish. When I said I wish I'd prepared a little bit more, I think that's it. Logistically, we're looking at 4 people per team, and we're going to try and keep the numbers manageable. He's looking down at his piece of paper because we both think we've forgotten someone. If we've forgotten someone, we'll apologise and do another episode and talk about team stuff. But let's just gloss over that for now. Teams is going to be completely different. What teams is going to bring to the table is the enjoyment, the entertainment of watching the team's event. That's a little bit more quirky and a little bit more engaging. But what you also get with teams events is, this is going to sound terrible because I love watching top end shooters shoot competitions.
Yeah.
But if we're being completely honest and talk about what the future of the sport entails, a spectator sport has to have longevity in terms of who you follow. So we're very partisan as a race. We want to find something to latch onto in someone's sport. Football teams or hockey teams or whatever shape your balls are, you want to find something to latch onto. And I find it's far easier for an individual getting this sport to follow a group or a team as opposed to an individual. Individuals come and go. Sorry, a message just pinged up and I was like, oh, look, a butterfly. So it's all about teams. And I think for me, sticking my neck out, and those that know Andy Welch, MBE, will know the only reason I've got a shooting team is because I was told to put money where my mouth is. We sat having this conversation over a beer saying, how do you grow this sport? How do you make sure that the competitors we send across to international quality events are shooting as a team as consistently as possible? How do we even take small international events? I don't mean world championships. I mean friendlies. Let's call them friendlies. If we sent a group of people over to shoot in Spain, how do we make that team as consistent as possible? And the reality is we need a team structure.
Yeah.
The team models, for me, are 2 or 3-fold. The first model is everyone's on the same platform, shooting the same calibre. I'll say calibre and shooting the same bullet, with as much consistency as possible in terms of construction of rifle and ballistics.
Like an F1 model.
Like an F1 model. Everyone's in the same car, running the same spec. You lose one car, you just put another car out. A team of 4 shooters take 6 rifles, 6 barrels, whatever it might be, and all of a sudden something goes wrong and you just drop one of those generic parts in. That's where AI are. AI are at the top end of that, where everyone's very consistent, but still they've got, some of these lads are shooting custom rigs with different barrels. You know, Alex has this barrel on because he's special. Someone's shooting a factory AI. In 5, 6, 7, however many years, the team should evolve to a point where they're all shooting consistently the same kit, equipment, and ammunition. And I think that's where you can get a team who can then chop and change and very quickly lean on each other when the wheel comes off, all the way down to individual groups of people who are just shooting their own kit, sharing a top, all looking the same. And you know, it's something we've been talking about where we call them a privateer team.
Yeah,
you know, we're still entertaining the thought of opening up a space for a team of individuals to come and form a new team. You know, people out there that aren't in a team that might want to be in a team. And let's make it perfectly clear, we've got 4 teams events. There may be events where one of the teams can't shoot. It's just life. It's not about making sure every single person is there. So take our team, for example. We've got, on paper, 8 in the team. We need 4 to shoot each event. We've struggled to get 4 for some of them. People have got lives and stuff like that. And if there's an event we can't shoot, so be it. We just want to be involved in that team's event to sort of grow the sport and get it out there to people and let people see that, you know, this is a spectator sport and something you'd happily sit and watch on TV for an hour. Does that lead on to us talking about media?
Well, before we do that, I mean, I'm really looking forward to the team stuff. I think this is a fantastic way for the sport of precision rifle to go towards, because of all the things that you've discussed there. And you know, you could get into the whole debate about, you know, should sports remain to some degree amateur? Should they become professional sport?
Say sponsored shooters. Don't say sponsored shooters.
Yeah, and all that sort of stuff. You know, you could, you know, and will it ever get to a point where there's enough money in it for somebody to actually be on somebody's payroll as just an out-and-out shooter? Let's not discuss all of that. But what I would like to discuss about teams, or point out about teams events, is that shooting's not like darts. It's an out-and-out individual sport. There's not much you can do with 3 other dart throwers on the team. You've got dart throwers.
It's very technical.
You're just throwing, aren't you? You're at a board. But you know, there's not much you can really expand on that. No. It is what it is. But when you come to shooting, you've got individual matches. And you can expand on individual matches because you could, you know, if you could do like what NRL Hunter are doing. So they're taking a precision rifle match type of format, shooting off barricades, shooting in different positions, making transitions and so on. But what they've done is they've evolved that to make that blind stages where the skill is finding the targets, ranging them and engaging them in whatever order you want to. It's not prescribed that you have to shoot that target, that distance with shot number 1 and that one with shot number 2. It's like our matches, like PRS and other disciplines. So that's a different aspect to the individual sport. What you can do with teams, you can start to bring in things like the shooter and the spotter concept. You can start to bring in comms. You can start
to interfere with those relationships, can't you? You can put barriers into communication. You can put barriers into visibility.
And it brings a whole new dynamic to precision rifle shooting, and it gives you so much more that you can do, and so much more that you can play with, and so much more challenges you can put in front.
And it makes it a bit more entertaining for the person on the sideline watching. Absolutely.
It makes it a real spectator sport.
We ran a trials team event this year. I lose track of where we are in the universe.
Last year, it was in the run-up. The team's event that we ran last year was a sort of a proof of concept, but it was also in aid of the Royal British Legion. Yeah. We ran it in November in the run-up to Remembrance Day.
There were some fantastic stages, some absolute crackers and people laughing and howling, and as a exercise in engaging a spectator, it was massive success. And with no reason to think that won't be the case going forwards.
Yeah, and the shooters themselves.
Still talking about it. Still talking about this stage and that stage, and fantastic. And like anything, no one's done this before. We're doing this for the first time. I've thrown the gauntlet out to people and said, come and talk to me about what you want a team's competition to look like. I think I've said it 5 or 6 times on here alone. And people have contacted me and said, what about this? What about that? And, I'd like to think in 5 years' time, we'll be running teams events that are slick and that tick all the boxes and do everything. But again, we're still blazing a trail in relation to precision rifle.
I'll tell you what.
You took a deep breath then, it was going to be profound.
I'll tell you what, if it's a massive success this season, we're going to have a right headache next season, because next season we've got to run qualifiers, or somebody's got to run qualifiers.
Yeah,
but if teams takes off, we're going to struggle to man it up.
Yeah. So teams, again, end of May, be a great weekend. The logic is, we didn't talk about structure of individual training days and shoots. Write that down on your bit of paper and remind me in a minute. Okay. The theory with teams events is that we have a training day beforehand, practice day, call it what you will. Not a day where there is formal instruction, is the way I'll caveat it, so that people don't turn up expecting Scott Satley to be there, teach them how to do stuff. But where individuals new to the sport can come along, they can get involved, they can have a go, they can chew the cud with the veterans and those that have been shooting for a while. And then they can stay on day 2 to watch the teams events in all their glory. And, learn a lot from some of these guys that are shooting. So that's the format I've come up with. Whether it works or not, we don't know. But like anything, we're sort of feeling around in the dark. That's teams. So park teams for now. Again, just very briefly, the continued support we've got from RUAG in relation to both individual and teams events is fantastic. They've been very supportive from day one, and they're delighted apparently to be supporting us again for the future. So thanks to Mark and his team at RUAG and everything they've done for us so far and supporting us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Let's talk about just the change of format for individual days. Let's just do it dead quick. Sometimes we have to just accept that logistically, no matter what we want to do, things have got to go a certain way in terms of what the venues let us do, how we can set up and all that sort of stuff. Individual days are going back to training beforehand and then competition on day 2. We're not going to get bogged down in it. We tried our hardest to make it work the other way around. It just ain't going to work for so many reasons. It was actually part of the reason why the April event was destined to fail, in that we couldn't get it to work in the new format in time. So just have to trust us. Anyone that's out there that wants to buy us a beer and we'll sit in the Bluebell or whatever and talk about why it didn't work, or someone wants to message me on social media and chew up 4 or 5 hours of my life I'm never going to get back, please do come and talk to us and we'll tell you what it is. We're not trying to do anything other than just trying to make it work, and it just ain't going to work. So we're going back to the old training day, practice day, followed by competition. And that's where we'll be for now. We'll take this opportunity.
Fair to say we could do with a bit more help, couldn't we?
Well, do you know what, mate? We've just both hit the same. I was going to say, it's safe to say part of the reason why we're struggling is we just cannot make it work with the staff we've got. When I say staff, I mean volunteers. Anyone out there that is passionately wanting to change the format or to make it work a different way, then please come and help us. Because we've stretched as far as we've stretched. We've had 12 months or more of running events now, or running the GBPRA, and we've all been very busy and we've all had to put a lot of things on the back burner. So now is an ideal opportunity if anyone's out there that's got some new ideas and some time to just get involved, come and give us a hand. We're not going to dwell on that. It is what it is. So the calendar is what the calendar is. I've not checked, but Christian's very good at updating things. So I'm guessing the current events page is right. Knowing how Christian works, yeah, he's nodding. Yeah, he's done it from a beach in Santa Fe or something like that.
No, we still need to swap over the training and the individual days. That's still showing as a Saturday, Sunday for the individual.
Again, we're not doing the thing where we're going to open up events in 6 months' time now. So it's
Well,
almost a moot point.
Next individual one's mid-June. June. So we've got a bit of time between now and then, and what we're focused on right now, isn't it, is getting that teams match off the ground. That's our focus right now, as well as getting prepared for the World Cup.
21:57, an hour and 7 minutes.
It's all right. We had a lot to catch up on, didn't we?
Yeah.
There's no rule that says that these have to be exactly an hour long.
It's just my OCD, that. That's all it is. As long as they're not under an hour, I feel like I'm shortchanging people if we're under an hour. They're like, I sat down to watch this and you're only 40 minutes. What am I going to do for 20 minutes of my life?
We still haven't discussed some topics as well that we said we'd discuss.
Like what?
Cost rises. The rising cost.
Well, that's an easy one. I'll just say it is. Venues put prices up. We don't want them to. Again, another factor in why it didn't happen in April is we were having professional discussions as an association with a venue, saying, well, what price we're going to settle on. And the prices have gone up at Orion. There's no way of getting around it. It's gone up. We've managed to negotiate a price that's keeping it down as much as possible, but it's going to cost you an extra £10 per event. I'd love to say there was a different solution and a different outcome, but it is what it is. If this has an impact on people because they're not going to come because it's an extra £10, then we apologise profusely. Again, every single penny of that range fee that you pay goes straight to them. We don't make a penny from it. And in fairness, if we're doing it through PayPal, then we actually lose money from members. But it is what it is. No point crying over spilt milk. Everything's going up everywhere in the world. The world's gone mad. A toilet roll's like £400 now. So,
Precision Rifle League, before we took it over their calendar last year, I think it was $150 an event, wasn't it, a day? We managed to bring it down to cost to $130, but yeah, unfortunately, just price rise at the range. But we're still cheaper than what it used to be.
It just is what it is. If people want to come and shoot it, they'll come and shoot it. If they don't, they don't. Some of the prizes we'll have on the price table make it worthwhile coming. We have aspirations to put food on as well. It was very nice of the PRS team to put on some food at the last event. We mentioned it before, we'll mention it again now. No Kit Kats, but can't have everything. And they're things that we want to be able to do, but we want to try and make it cost effective for people. So again, we're 12 months into this. We're trying to run events for you how you want them. We need your feedback. We need you to vote with your feet. We've got the elections after August. And again, 2, 3, 4 years into this association, we'll know exactly what it is, and events will be more, I was going to say structured, but we do the best to structure them. There'll be more consistent, established. Some people, I'm not going to lie to you, the amount of people I speak to say, I've not got a problem paying £135, £140, £150 for an event. I'm not going to lie to you, I'll be dead straight. I have no problem spending. I was spending £150 for a day shooting before the GBPRA even existed or PRL existed. I was going to Orion before there was any such thing as shooting competitions. I remember going down to Bodmin, to Roundhouse, to shoot Tiff's very first few precision rifle comp things before it was PRL. I don't have a problem spending it. I know some people do, and there's people in here that will be cussing saying, I'm only spending £40 to shoot, I'm not spending that much. But there are people out there that still see 130, 140, 150 pounds at Orion as reasonable money. So let's not get away from that. There are some people that it's too rich for, and I apologise to those people. For some people, including me, I still think it's value for money. So
still, for me, it's I've not been to pro shoot. Obviously, I've shot up in Scotland, but for me, there's something special about the actual range at Orion. I don't know where else you get that. You get that variation of terrain, targets, angles, different firing points. With that stunning mountain as a backdrop. I don't know where else you you get that. It's a cracking venue. It's just brilliant.
I think there's pros and cons for all the venues in the country.
Yeah.
Orion has an argument for being the best venue in the country. That there are things that aren't ideal at Orion, and if you shoot it regularly, there's an argument for anything. If you eat the same cereal every day, you're going to get bored of it. But
not just that. Sorry, mate.
I was going to say, having shot at every venue in the country, I've not shot a pro shoot. I've heard lots of good things about pro shoot, but having shot at every venue in the country, including venues that no longer exist, I think Orion is quite comfortably one of the, if not the best, venue in the country, in the UK. Sorry, mate.
But if you're a top shooter and you're serious about getting better, you don't go and just shoot one venue.
No, you don't.
You get around all the venues, and because the worst thing you can do as a shooter is just get used to one range.
Absolutely.
Know how the wind works and what have you. Have all the firing point, and then you go to another range, and you suddenly almost starting from scratch. Yeah? You need to get out and experience lots of environments. So, not saying that.
Again, if you've got a venue and you want to, if you've got a venue you want to host events, let us know. If you've got a venue you want to put events on for us, if you want to be an affiliate and run IPRF qualifiers in the future. If you want to be one of the many venues running PR22, I lost track of how many there are now, do it. We haven't got enough ranges in this country. I mean, we're not going to get drawn into this conversation again now, but we shoot at Orion because it's very safe, entirely legal, and logistically viable. The more safe, legal, and logistically viable ranges there are in the country, the better. So, is what it is.
It is.
What else have you got on your list? My list is empty. Your list is always longer than mine.
There was something else, but I can't seem to remember it now. I had something in my head that I remember during the podcast.
I'm sure it'll all come out in the wash. We'll do more of these. We're going to have to cram a few in. We've got some shooters coming on to talk to us the next few podcasts, haven't we? You're nodding at that because that's you remembered what you were going to say.
And it was about.
We've invited some interesting people to come along and talk to us about shooting, not shoot to us about talking. That's Star of Prom and Stronger Than I Remember. So they'll come on for short segments, and Christian will do his magic and make it all look like it does. So we'll probably try and get there in the next couple of weeks, in fairness. We've got a lot to talk about going forward, stuff we haven't talked about yet, stuff we can't talk about just yet. Go on, what else have you remembered? Is that it?
No, that was it. So who do we reckon we'll have on first?
Josh.
Are we going to have Philippe on to talk about the world?
Philippe's far too busy to speak to us at the moment, but if we can get Philippe on from France. So even before France offered themselves up as a venue, Philippe was coming on to talk to us. We got bogged down the side with other stuff. We were fighting against insurgent and all sorts of stuff. Insurgents, should I say. And we were being attacked and all sorts, being called horrible names. So that fell by the wayside. But Philippe's desperate to come on. If he gets some time, it'd be great to speak to him. His English is far better than our French. I don't know. Christian and I can hold our own. But yeah, his English is far better than our French. So we'll be getting him on. We'll also be getting some of the qualifiers and trophy holders on. Ideally, when they've got the trophy in their hands, so they can wave it off and have it behind them, like casually in the background.
Said he'll do an interview with us. Tom said he'll come on. Josh.
Everyone. Tom, Josh, Jack, Mark. Yeah, everyone.
Yeah, great.
Everyone that's got a trophy. Well, that hasn't got a trophy because I've got some from here. Everyone that will have a trophy wants to come speak to us. So that's a cue for me to get my finger out of the backside and get them posted out. So, yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
What's next? Teams event end of May. If you're not coming to shoot the teams event, come to the training day, practice day beforehand, hang on and have a beer with us and stay around for the teams day the day after. Enhanced media coverage. That way. Talk about that. Talk about media. You know you love to talk about media. You're never happy when you talk about media.
Yeah, so obviously those people that come along to the matches know that myself and Luca typically are there with our cameras and iPhones and GoPros, and we're taking photographs and we're taking videos, and we're putting together interviews of the shooters. We're putting together match day footage as well, and it's all, we're learning as we go. We're not the most spectacular professionals.
Volunteers.
Professional photographers. We're not professional filmmakers. Although Luca is a media student, so it's helping him with studies. But what we really believe in is that to grow the sport. People always look at me and go, "That's a bit of a corny thing to say, Christian." But again, I believe that this sport hasn't reached its ceiling in the number of competitors, the number of participants it can have. It's got more potential, a lot more potential, but it needs advertising. It can't just be something that a few people are aware of and involved in.
A niche. It can't be a niche sport. It's got to be as near to mainstream as possible.
Yeah, it's got that potential as a sport, especially if there's a wide range of disciplines within the sport of precision rifle, like we've already talked about: cis dynamic, blind stages, individual matches, team matches, and so on. But it needs advertising, and that's why we do a lot. We do all that social media work. That's why we do the podcast. We're trying to get the message out there about precision rifle. We're trying to get more people hooked to come along and try it out. That's why we do the training days. It's to get new people into the sport. And the more people you have in the sport, the more money that will flow into the sport. And the more money that flows into the sport, the better it'll be for everybody. We'll all benefit. So that's what we want to do. Now, the teams matches, as Simon's already alluded to, that's industry we might have privateer teams, but fundamentally it's about industry putting together a team to represent their company. Okay, and they're gonna want something out of the back end of that. Now, obviously, they can do their own media stuff, of course. They're more than welcome to come along, take their own photographs, and that'll get them so far. But what we want to do is we want to take it one step further than that, and we want to try and put together some sort of a slick media package, a film package that could even be worthy of going on something like Sky TV, okay, Sky Sports. That's the plan. That's the ambition.
That's the aspiration. Absolutely.
So in the same way that we've reached out to Boscobel Weapon Systems, and they've come to us with funding so that we can do the podcast and fund the podcast without any strain on membership money.
Price neutral. That's where we look at it.
Boscobel Weapon Systems very kindly, they manufacture bipods. They very kindly fund this podcast for the UK. They're an Australian company. The funding a podcast in the UK, that says a lot about how passionate they are about shooting.
We're worldwide, though, this podcast, worldwide. Big in Japan.
Well, I've already told you 15 countries. And then we've touched on RUAG, who sponsoring the teams matches.
Yeah, supporting the teams matches.
Brothers, AI Store, actually International, helping us out on the individual matches. Well, we've now got a company lined up that are going to fund us to do an enhanced media package of the team that will cover the teams matches.
So that's our official media partner.
Official media partner of the GBPRA, and they are, Simon, I'll let you give the name.
MFG. Well, they're a brand new company, and they're created out of this opportunity. Are the MFG Media? Is that what they're called in the end?
Yeah.
Glad I didn't get that one wrong.
And their business is security. They're in the security business, and what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to really get the message out there about the services and the products that they offer that protect that could protect firearms owners, property where there's firearms on the property.
As someone who's an RFD that has a fully monitored alarm system with the smoke machines and all that nonsense, I deal with companies like that on a regular basis, and there's no alarm companies out there that understand firearms ownership, certainly at RFD level, but even just in conventional, some of the people listening to this podcast will have dozens of firearms in their respective hidey holes in the house. What's been missing in this market for a long time has been a company that comes along that's able to provide some security operations or security support, but understand the needs of firearms users. What we've got in MFG is SWL, an established security company who were looking to sort of fill that gap, and it's a fantastic opportunity for them. And fair play to them, they came to us to want to support what we were doing. They knew what we were trying to do. They knew how passionate Christian was about getting the message out there, and they were passionate about supporting us. So it's a perfect fit. In the same way, Ruag, we didn't have to chase them down the road. Ruag came to the table and asked if they could work with us. So did AI, and so did Edgar Brothers. That's how it should be. If we start having to chase people down the road trying to get money out of the pockets, that's just not our style. It might be the future of the association, but as long as we're at the helm, that doesn't sit too comfortably with me. So it just felt really right. And the great people to deal with, and Dean and Jack and co, are going to put a lot of effort into make sure that Mark's happy and that they get everything done to an incredibly professional level. So we'll probably do a separate podcast just in relation to media, but we're glad to have the team on board. We're really enthused by the support we've been offered so far. It's going to mean, what is it going to mean? It's going to mean that when I sit on my sofa at midnight because I can't sleep with the Jamesons, I'm trying to watch them on TV. It means there's an increased opportunity for me to be able to go onto some quality media outlet and watch precision rifle being shot by people in this country. There's nothing else in the world like that. There is no American precision rifle TV. Go on YouTube and watch a video of a cat wearing a tutu driving a car. YouTube's just everything for everyone. But in terms of getting it on mainstream media and getting it onto the satellite TV, that's where we're aiming. That's how high we're aiming, and that's where we think it should be internationally. And there's no reason why people won't follow suit. There's some fantastic precision rifle communities out there: America, France, Spain, Denmark, Scandinavia on the whole. There's some fantastic precision rifle countries out there, and they just need a platform. And I think, sat on your sofa watching what's going to make me sit there for an hour and watch something? And I think a Teams event is what it's going to be. So hopefully this is going to be a significant move forward for us as an association, and we're delighted to have MFG and the team on board to help us along the way.
Yeah, thanks, Matt and guys.
Cool. But yeah, we'll do a separate podcast about that. We'll get them on board, we'll talk about it, and you'll see them at events, and you'll start to see the enhanced, we'll call it enhanced product come out. We'll still continue to do all the YouTubes and all that sort of stuff, but it just means we can put more out of a better quality. And it's hard following any sport if the coverage isn't right. So it's about us getting that right dynamic. So if you're an individual who's looking to get into sport and you wonder what it's all about, you can just go and watch it. I can understand. If I've never played football in my life, I've never been out of my house, I could watch Premier League football and I could probably get it and understand the rules. And that's what we need to do. We need to make it so accessible for people that people get into the sport just because they've seen it somewhere really accessible. Then we know we've won. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Great.
Right.
Can't believe you're drinking beer without me. I'm on the lemonade tonight.
It's not my fault you've overdone it in Italy. It's styrofoam and stuff. It's really nice. You've overdone it, not me. I've been sensible.
I did overdo it.
It's the first beer I've had in a couple of weeks, in fairness. I've been busy. So
I miss my rifle over there. No, I miss going out with the rifle on a morning for a rabbit.
Oh, you'll be back at it before you know it, spamming us all with pictures of.
I've already been back at it.
There you go. Mate, it's been another good one. All this stuff, I've been sat here marvelling at it all. All looks great.
You're referring
down the barrel of
everybody can see on YouTube, but not on the podcast. So thanks again, Jim. That's much appreciated, mate. And thanks again, Boscobel Weapon Systems, makers of the Bell Lock bipod, for kindly funding this podcast.
We're staring down the barrel of 2 competitions, teams, individuals, and also a trip out to France with the team. It's going to be a busy year with a lot going on. Once again, that regular plea, if there's anyone out there that's got some spare time, wants to help us out, please do. We're only as good as the component parts. Another great podcast, mate. Hopefully, I think we'll propose another one this next week, in fairness. We're knocking out more than one a month at the moment because we need to keep up. If you've got something you want to hear about, you want something you want us to talk about, then drop us a line. If there's a subject we're not talking about at the moment that you think we should be, then let us know. But it's been a good one, mate. I've really enjoyed it. Been great to blow some cobwebs off.
Yeah, let's make sure we do one sooner rather than later this time.
Have you got something nice to say? I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks, everyone, and all that stuff. But have you got anything you want to say? Because I know you love to finish on a high note.
No, I'm just going to say, bye, everybody. Be good to one another. And we'll speak soon.
What he said that way. What he said. Thanks, folks. Stay safe.
Bye. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.